In today's video, we're going to hang out with a great SEO, a person I've learned quite a lot of tricks from, Clint Butler from SEO This Week show on YouTube and digitalear.com. We'll talk about one of the SEO buzzwords of the year, which is entities, what entities are, why they're so important, how to extract these entities, and how to use them in our content. We'll touch on schema if we have time. Plus, more importantly, we'll answer your questions. So make sure you have you put your question in the chat below so we can answer it. What's going on, everybody? Adrian Diaz here with Hasta la Vista Boss, the place where ambitious people like you and I, we talk about how to create a side hustle, make it profitable, quit our jobs, become our own bosses. So I hope that's something cool to look forward to. So welcome, Clint, to Hasta la Vista Boss.
Oh, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. I was excited to get the invitation.
It's really a pleasure to have you, Clint. I've been following you for some time, quite a lot, to be honest. I've watched all your videos, even when you, if you remember, when you on your YouTube channel used to be Olympia SEO.
Yep.
And that's a lot of videos.
Yeah.
And I've learned
that was in my younger days when I looked handsome and stuff.
Oh, you were handsome, and your voice seemed a little bit less. How do you say? More approachable. Now,
more approachable.
Yeah. So before I move on, I want to welcome everybody here in the chat. If who do we have in here? We have Jahir, who is here on the chat as well on Zoom. We have Misha Suski. How's it going, hermano? Welcome. We have Kieron from Merchants UK Homebrew. Helen, I'm sorry you can't stay, Helen. I know you have another awesome live hangout going on, but definitely check out the replay. Clint is amazing, so you're gonna learn a lot. Please come back when you finish the other chat. Alrighty. So Clint, although I know almost everything about you, do you want to let people know who you are, because my audience is kind of newbie to intermediate in SEO and building websites and all that. So I would love to, you let them know who you are. What do you do?
Well, the 30 second commercial version is I was in the Army for 22 years. Did a lot of deployments and stuff, but as you guys probably guessed, you don't make very much money in the Army and you kind of live paycheck to paycheck. So I was looking for another thing to do. And I actually, while I was in the Army, got involved in network marketing.
Ooh, no.
Exactly. So, and one of the things that everyone's been exposed to network marketing at this point, I'm sure, but basically you have to have leads. How do you get leads? Well, you either buy them or you generate them yourselves. I bought them for a while. That wasn't working. And then I found SEO, and it's been game on ever since from that point. After I retired from the Army, I did 2 years in Afghanistan with the goal of building up some money so I can start my own business and do, like you said, create a side hustle, make it your own, and quit your regular job. So I walked away from a 6-figure income while I was in Afghanistan and built my agency that way.
Awesome stuff.
And then, yeah, after, I don't know, was a year and a half of that, I decided that I am not very good with clients. It's not that I don't like clients. It's just that I'm not, like Adrian knows, I have this really short fuse. I don't tolerate things over and over again, repeatedly every week, i.e. calling, why aren't I ranking yet? Well, you just paid your invoice yesterday. Duh. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So I partnered with Guy Charette at Over the Top SEO. He brought me on. I'm his director of SEO now. I've been running his agency 5 years now. We were just reflecting on it a couple of weeks ago. As a matter of fact, it's been 5 years already. I run Digitalear now, but I'm getting ready to fire that back up because I like to have a residual incentive income. And then I also have a third website. It's going to be my training platform at whatranks.com. And then SEO This Week, it just kind of started, I don't know. I'm sure you've seen it, the kind of the evolution. I got 165 episodes I skipped weeks. I skipped the whole 6-month period at one time. And I just wanted to, if I was going to read people's blogs and all that stuff, why not do something about it, give my opinions about it versus sitting on Facebook trying to be an internet tough guy typing text behind the profile thing. Just get my face out there and say, this is what I think. So
Mm-hmm.
people seem to like it. And
Yeah,
there you go.
it's awesome. Your content is awesome, and I want to tell everybody a real story. I don't know if you want me to tell it about how how we actually started to chat a little bit. If you remember on Pop and Cora SEO group, support group, someone asked how to do negative SEO, and then I started to give them step by step how to do it, and then you chat me and say, "Dude, what the fuck? Shut up!" And that's, I mean, I didn't know that was that's how you do it. I had the knowledge, and that knowledge I got it from putting 2 plus 2 together by watching your videos.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I recommend everybody to watch these videos that Clint puts out there on SEO This Week show. Plus, he's a co-host on SEO Fight Club, another amazing show with Clint, with Ted Kubidas and Kyle Roof. So you definitely have to check this because you learn a lot of stuff if you keep watching.
Yeah.
So
I think the value of that show. Well, first to your first point, or how we met, is that's how I like to teach. A lot of people break things down. They either mansplain it, that's the new term now for woke America, is mansplaining, or it just they make it overly simplified and they talk to you like you're a retard. And I hate both of those things. So I'll give you the thing. I'll give you, this is what you should do with it, or this is what you should do, and I kind of leave the what to do with it up to you, right?
yeah.
So, and that's I think that's where I've watched you. You started out from just being a guy you're asking a billion questions to now you got your own show, you're doing your own hustle. So I think that's awesome. That's kind of people you all hope to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly. I mean,
go out there and do it.
I hope to be a guy with your knowledge at some point, but I know that if I keep doing what I'm doing, I will definitely get there. Maybe take me, a year or 5, but I know that you guys, with the knowledge that you, with the content that you put out there, it's definitely something that is going to happen. Um, I want. Usually, I don't ask this question at the beginning, but there's something that someone, Zoe Humble in Facebook, asked this question. I believe it's kind of a little bit interesting because I want people to know you a little bit more, and how you can get into this kind of stuff. So she says here, I'm interested to know what background these guys have. She's talking about you and Black Hat SEOs, I guess. Meaning, what training do they have to get this sort of job? I find it quite interesting, but I can't see what sort of career path they take. So coming from the angle, if I wanted to do this as a job, what is the industry path to get the job?
So Black Hat SEO isn't really a job. I know you're using the context of a job, but I want to make sure you kind of understand. It's essentially a way of thinking versus anything else, and that's what kind of why I brought the hat out when I first did it and then first branded it. And if you ever open the incognito of browser and you see the picture, okay, so um, for me, I'll tell you, my background is 22 years in the Army. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I have 3 master's degrees: public relations, business intelligence, and internet marketing. But when I chose the black hat path in regards to SEO, is there's white hat where everything Google said is the law. You have to follow it, and if you don't, you're evil and you're going to go to hell, right? And then there's the black hats where everything Google said is how they want it. Now let's figure out how it really works. And those typically, it's two different things, right? So if you want to be a black hat and you want to, wear the hat proudly, as it were, you have to be willing to test. You have to be willing to break things. You have to be not afraid of Google. And then when Google says, "Hey, don't do X, Y, and Z," you have to be smart enough to go, "I'm going to go test what X, Y, and Z and see why they said not to do that." And that's really, at the end of the day, is really the difference between a white
Do
hat
you,
and a black hat.
do you need to be technical, Clint? Would you say that for you to be a black hat, you'll have to understand a little bit of technical stuff, maybe code, maybe I don't know
I'm the
HTML or.
least, yeah, I'm the least technical guy there is. I can do stuff in HTML. I can mess with the database a little bit. I'm learning programming. I'm learning Python. I'm learning Java. But at the end of the day, I didn't need any of those skills.
Cool.
Would it help? It'd help to be familiar. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to know how to code a website, but you should be able to go in there and figure out what H1 tag is and figure out how to change that or how to write a link HTML, that kind of stuff. But for
Cool
the most
stuff.
part, today, templates, WordPress, HTML templates, they're all out there. So you have a nice base, and all those website builders make it even easier than that.
Cool. That's awesome. I hope that answered your question, Zoe. As you've seen, Clint always like to say that he's a dumb animal, but he's not. Trust me. You heard his background, okay? So don't let yourself fool by that. But I guess you have to learn a little bit about how Google works and uh, test, like Clint says, testing. Actually, yesterday I posted my first ever SEO test, Clint, on IMG. So I'm very excited to test this stuff.
Oh, nice.
It's awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it took me like a lot of time to put it together because I never done it before. But second time it was much easier.
Yeah.
Like everything in life, I guess. Um, Okay, so let me quickly go back to the chat for 1 second and welcome Sue and Bob as well. Welcome to the chat, guys. If you have questions, put them in the comments like this. Let me see if I can share my screen. No, I can't share my screen. No, no. Okay, like this. Capital and the question. So we know that we have to read that question to Clint. And let me see if I can do this. Okay. Clint, let's talk about entities because that's what the title is about. The video, it's about entities. It's a buzzword. Everybody's talking about entities, NLP, and all that.
Yep.
I'm gonna let you take it away and let us know what it is and what it does.
Well, there's two ways to explain entities. You can go super nerd,
Oh, by the way,
or you
Clint.
can.
By the way, if you want, if you want to share something with us, like on the screen, you can share the screen. If you want to explain something on the
Yeah,
screen.
I think we're good.
Cool.
Yeah, I think
Cool.
we're good. I'll jump on it if we need it. I'll bust out my pen.
Sweet.
Um, if there's two ways to look at entities. You can look at it in the machine learning AI, in the natural language processing of the algorithms, and go super nerd on it. And that's what most people do, right? And that's why everyone's confused. But at the end of the day, an entity is a person, place, thing, right? It's something tangible. It's a company. Google is an entity. My hat is an entity. Our
Right.
glasses are entities. Our shirts are entities, right? So when you think about it in that perspective, the application of entities is the same as LSI terms. I'm sure I don't know how much you guys know about the LSI stuff, so I'll just kind of break it in simple. LSI
Yeah.
is,
Don't make it
yeah.
too nerdy.
Yeah. So if Adrian was writing an article about cranes, LSI is all the words that the machine would expect to find in an article about cranes. And the way the machine figures that out is because it's given a whole bunch of articles about cranes, right? Uh, and so it compares those. Now there's LSI, and then there's what Ted coined it. One of the episodes he said it, and I think it's really cool. Is super LSI, and that's what entities
Super
are.
LSI.
So In your case, you're writing a post about cranes, so you the ball, the hook, the
Chains.
counterbalance, the winch, the cables.
Mm.
Those are all things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Google would be looking for that stuff inside of your content, and that's honestly that is the application of entities. You can get into the mumbo jumbo and the AI and the machine learning and all that stuff. Most
Yeah.
people don't have time for that stuff, but that's really what it is. So if you're writing your content now and you're putting in those LSIs, uh, it's increasing their relevance because you have to write what good, high quality, relevant content to rank, right? And so that is for me, it's working like gangbusters. I have a pretty manual process. A buddy of mine, he actually created an automated process
Mm-hmm.
and taught us his manual process, and then I took his manual process and kind of made it my own because he was doing way too much shit for me. So, I apologize. I cuss on my show, so he's doing way too much stuff on for me. So I slimmed it down a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's really he can do it. He can build entire websites and entire markets in a week using that theory, and I can do consistent content over and over again. So, it's that's really all it is. You're not. It's nothing groundbreaking or earth shattering. It's just Google said, "Hey, what is a better way to teach the algorithm of what something is about?"
Mm-hmm.
And what better way to do that than if I'm writing a story about an ocean beach? There's the ocean, there's the cliffs, there's the tree, there's the wind. These are all entities. They're all things.
Um, I, I I think until now it's everything is clear. So entities, it's everything that exists. I would say everything that exists and Google knows about. Um, but
Well, the Google NLP API is actually taught based off of Wikipedia. It's
Mhm.
kind of funny because remember when we were going to school, don't use Wikipedia, it's bad because people committed it, right?
Yeah.
But now an entire search algorithm that's pretty much driving the internet is based off of the terms that are in Wikipedia. So think of it that way. If it's in Wikipedia and it's a person, place, thing, or an event, it's an entity.
So how can we take advantage of that? Like what uses? So most of the audience that watches Hasta la Vista Boss channel, they are people who are making affiliate websites for Amazon and other type of businesses, um, but mostly Amazon or mostly affiliate marketing. How can
Mm-hmm.
we how can we take advantage of these entities for when we write our content?
I can show you. This is a little bit harder way to do it because I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to give away my way. Because so I'm going to show you guys a little bit of an easier way. Do you have a piece of content written right now? Actually, I can just use this live demo, and we can play pretend.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're looking at, or you should see, is textraiser.com.
Yeah, we see it.
It's hooked to the Google NLP API. And I'm not sure if they're using IBM Watson, but I'm pretty sure it's just the Google NLP. And basically, what you do is you come over here, TextRaiser. You can, if you're using a software tool like Correlite or Cora, it's actually connected to this, and it's free for 500 pulls. And I've never used more than
Mm-hmm.
500 a day, so you're good. And you just come in here and drop your article in it. In this case, we're just going to pretend that we're writing a Barclays Bank for whatever reason. So click the analyze, and what it's going to do is going to spit out the categories and the topics, which for our word, topics, as we explain entities, is really a topic in the semantic relationship of everything. So topics and entities are the same thing when you see those applications.
Are the same things. Topics and entities are the same thing.
Yeah, they're
Cool.
referring to the same thing.
Cool.
I The way it was explained to me by super nerds is the topics is actually more accurate than entities, but entities is kind of what we do, what we use, right? So as the SEO, we hear about entities, just makes it easier. But topics and entities are pretty much
Right. Right.
same math. And then you have categories in here. Well, so what you can do is, in this thing, you can come in here and play around with text if you want to. drop your article in there, you play around with the text. There's a couple things you can do. You can look at it and it's going to pop all this stuff, and these are the things that you have in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can make sure and apply schema, which I think is probably a whole new conversation. We need a couple hours just for that. And apply the entities to schema. So, but in this case, Barclay, it's a thing, right? It's a business, so it's a thing. So that's an entity. It's going to want to be in here, and you can drop it in here, and you can see. I can't move my pointer at the same time. But you can see that it lists the Wikipedia link for it, the Freebase ID, the Wikidata ID, and the confidence scores. The higher those confidence scores and the relevance scores, the more relevant it is for your piece of content.
What's the minimum and what's the maximum of those scores, Clint?
There's really not. So when I'm writing content, and we might get, what I do with this is I put it into Correlite or Quora, and then I'll search the top 10 or top up to a top 100. And Quora puts out pretty much the same thing here. I think I got actually. Let me check. I'll check for you. Since we're in no rush, we got all time. Here's one I did an example for. It's wicked tickets is the keyword.
Ooh.
This puts out great content. So this is the entities list. So entities, same thing as topics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm using Quora, I typically stop here at 5. And I'll get all of these in my thing. If there's only a little bit of them, then I'll just do all of them. But if it's a 3 and a 4, it's kind of like, yeah, also important. If you can put it in there, put it in there. But otherwise, this is what my writers focus on. And you can use these reports and actually do some cool stuff with them to make it easier on your writers when you're creating stuff. For example, you see, this is a client of mine, and it's Z-Shot app, and it's got a video editor and a photo editor and a few other things, and they needed content for their actual landing pages. So what I did is we wrote the outline based off of what the Quora report told us, and then I gave them the supplemental terms based on what it does, and then I made them a video, and I said, hey, also when you're doing that, make sure you put these terms in here, as many as you can. And so you're actually making your writing team do a lot of the quote unquote SEO work for you in the content creation piece, and making your content way more relevant. So that's kind of how you use these reports. Another view would be the Quora report view, which is a lot more extensive.
This one was the Correlite report?
Yeah, this is Correlite. And the main difference between the two is Correlite only does on-page, and then Quora, the main one, does all of them. It does on-page and off-page.
Oh, okay.
This report is part of the regular Quora thing. I just wanted you guys to see it. You could be a fancy, but here's the LSIs.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's not the LSIs. I'll let it load, and then I'll open this up.
Where would you use the LSIs, Clint?
Those are like, let's say you're following a system like Surfer or Page Optimizer Pro that says you need to do word count. Those are best to kind of do that. There's a lot of tools out now. Website Auditor, End Topic, Text. It's not Text Razor. It's not Text Mechanic. I forget the name it's off.
Text Mechanic.
No, Text Mechanic. That's an editor. I forget the name. It's text. Just do End Topic, and you'll find the other one. But basically, what it does is they give you graphs, and they say this is the other words that should be there: the ins, the does, the alsos, and all that madness, and how many. And then if you don't have that in there, and competition does, and you have to increase word count, you pop it into one of those tools, and just use that to fill up the word count for you. You know what I mean? That kind of makes your life a little bit easier. I had to stop sharing because I got to actually share the desktop.
Jahir is asking here, did you mention Schema? He didn't mention Schema yet, Jahir. When we finish with the entities, Um, if Clint still have a little bit more time with us, we can ask him about Schema.
Yeah. Schema really plays into this too. So um, here's the entities from Cora. This makes you see how much easier this is
Right.
versus the one in Cora Lite, right? Cora Lite gave us a list of what 50. In this one, all I'm worried about are these ones right here. And here's the benefit. This is already there. This
Mm-hmm.
is already there. This is already there.
Cool.
This goes back to his question about schema. And I'll show you a tool. Well, I'll actually just show you this.
Let me read the. Are you gonna answer Jahir question, Clint, so I can read it for everybody?
Well, I'm just gonna type. Yeah. Well, yeah. Read his question
Yeah.
because I may get it at the same time.
Cool. So Jahir is asking everybody in Zoom. Can you show example or explanation of using schema along with this entity, or you can share any resource that I can take a look at?
In links. Last time I tried to show this, didn't work. Oh, I know the other one. This one's free. Joe Priest made this.
Joe Priest. Oh yeah, I had Joe a couple of weeks ago here on the chat on the stream as well.
Yeah, he's awesome. So
He's very
go
very
in here.
awesome.
It's free. You let you sign up. He started a Skype group. It's all right. And then he's got a Chrome extension. If you hit him up, he'll for keyword research. But
Yeah.
the part you this part right here.
Keyword spy.
Say again.
The keyword extension. We're waiting for him to make it to see if he can make it available. I have it as well. It's quite cool, to be honest.
Yeah, he's still working on it. He's still playing with it.
Mm-hmm.
As I understand it, he's giving that away for free too. So this is all stuff he's a stupid. He's one of those guys I was telling you about, the stupid super nerds, right?
Very nerd, yeah. His
Yeah,
brain
I don't
amazes me.
I don't understand, but I'm good at translating. And then let's see. We're gonna do Phoenix. Actually, give me a. Let's do affiliate because you guys are talking about
Yeah,
affiliate.
let's do affiliate, Amazon affiliate. I don't know.
About
Best webcams or something like that.
okay.
So I have one in front of me.
Then you click data and you wait about 2 minutes. What this is going to do is, if you've seen this, you remember this, the application of this, and you remember the application of TextRaiser, what it's doing is going to the top 25 websites. And it's essentially running them through TextRaiser. And it's finding all of this stuff that's all organized and put together and saying, these are the top entities that all those 25 sites are using. So you need to use it too. It's the same application here and the same thing in that Core Light report. We're all doing the same thing. And there's a section in here. That's why I wanted to show it too. That'll do it too. Dixon has actually made a good thing. I will tell you a caveat. I do not like this program because it applies through JavaScript. So you put the JavaScript on there, you do all your stuff in this website, and then as soon as you're done paying, or you have to redirect your budgets for other tools or whatever, right?
Oh, that sucks.
You're going to stop, and as soon as you stop, it's gone. So you've done all the work and it's gone. I don't like that. If I'm paying for work, then I should be able to keep that work, right? But this is still a good tool. You can plink around here in the free stuff and get an idea of entities and stuff like that. There's a good example in here. Let's see if one of these opens up.
I know Michael Suski is in the chat. So Michael, if you have anything to say, brother, let us know. Join us here. Join us on the Zoom. The link is in the Facebook group.
It's got a graph. I'm trying to trigger it. There you
go. Knowledge graph.
Entities. This is all entity stuff. So you get a better idea about the application of entities, right? So if I'm having a piece of content about lawnmowers, I got to have lawnmowers, mowers, and then all these other things are kind of put in a piece of that. These are other words that are related. I would argue that everyday life is probably not an entity. Shut up. But the rest of the stuff is. So you get a better idea of why you're doing it. And then just an account to tinker around here is free. So
Cool. Yeah, that's a
anyway,
nice tool to
this is
play
done.
with. In
Yeah,
links.
exactly. This is done, and then you get to the schema down here, and there you go. That's how you apply a schema. So here's the same as you say it's a webcam, same as, or it mentions these things: aspect ratio, 4:4 aspect ratio, wider camera, webcam. All of that stuff can be all put into your schema. There is no limit on schema. At the end of the day, as long as it's relevant and you know, you're not necessarily keyword stuffing. You're just saying, "Hey Google, this is relevant," and Google bot will always read your head in the head of your website. They might not necessarily read all of your body, and a lot of people put schema in their body or they put it in their footer. The Google might not always get down there, so you always want to put your schema in the head. And this is the application of what you do that with.
Cool.
This is really the simple web page application. Uh,
Is this are entities or schema? I know you might not be able to share this, but I think it's worth asking. Um, do you know if, based on your testings, if entities or schema is a ranking factor?
I will tell you that I know what application of schema is not a ranking factor, and I tested Yoast, Rank Math, SEO Press. I tested the basic schema recommendations out of schema.org and the basic schema recommendations out of the Google developers website. Where everyone gets their sources, their templates. This is what we need to do, right? I tested every single one of them, and not the only one that actually boosted ranking was the how-to schema.
Which one?
The how-to schema.
Okay,
How-to.
the how to schema. Okay,
Yeah. And the reason I think that is because the how-to schema requires you to put more text and stuff, and it increases the
okay.
relevancy. So Google's looking at these things and seeing all these terms: webcam, Logitech camera, webcams, 1080p, and it's saying you're essentially smacking over the face with a wet fish and saying, "I am relevant. I am relevant." Right? And when you're using a plugin that's using those basic templates, you're smacking them with the same wet fish, saying, "I am the same as everyone else. I am the same as everyone else." It's the same application. So, um, my recommendation now, and I've been recommending this a long time now, but now I have tested it at show, is you are absolutely wasting your time if you are not writing your own stuff. Absolutely wasting your time. So
Cool.
everyone needs to learn how to write their own stuff.
Is do you do your I've learned from another smart guy that you know as well, from Mugs, Alex Mugs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've learned a little bit about how to do schema, how to write the schema manually. Do you do your schema manually and add it to your clients? I'm guessing to your clients' websites,
Right.
or do you use any um, plugins?
So I always start with a template,
Mm-hmm.
and typically the template I like to use is the one that Yoast spits out. And I just said don't use Yoast, but the template is good. So I'll show you how I get it. You just go to Yoast SEO blog. Pick any one. Google structured data. And the reason I like this is because Yoast is doing something that none of the other plugins is doing, and that's called the graph.
The graph.
It's implemented graph. So you just click on any one of these things, and you're going to get taken to this line. It's a
Mm-hmm.
whole line of code. You just copy that line, and then we're going to go in here. Where is it?
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. This is like my trash bin. This is all this cool stuff I wanted to do later. Dirty markup beautifier.
10 best design.
Put it on JS. Put your code in here, and then there's your schema. You know, it's all intimidating and stuff. Push clean, and now you have your template.
Wow, that's cool.
Now, what I'm playing with is changing the order of these things, because once you do this, once you play with this, like I wrote a schema that's about 1,500 lines for one of my websites. And if the order is kind of confusing Google because it's just the way that it's set up. So I'm messing with the order and seeing if that matters. And, website versus web page versus organization and how you put it in there.
Cool stuff.
There's another plugin that a buddy of mine is developed, and I'm trying to convince him to release it. I think he wants to. He's probably going to release it under on what ranks, which is really cool.
That's
So we'll
awesome. I,
get.
I want to ask you about what ranks in a little bit when we finish with this.
Yep. Okay. Um, so now we have a template, right? And it looks hard. It looks confusing, and at the end of the day, it's really not. There's two things that'll mess you up with schema. It's these stupid combos right here,
Hmm.
right?
That can break. I
Yeah.
can mess you up for days.
Yes. You're like, what is going on?
Yeah. What
And
the
then
hell is not? It's not working.
and then these open and close brackets. And those
Um,
things are
One thing I want to ask you, Clint, if about this schema, I've seen this on this example and many example. I didn't have the time to ask Alex about it, but is that at ID? What's that? So
it's right
that's
here.
that one. That one.
Yeah. So you're basically what is the main thing in this page?
Mm.
It's kind of like the did you look at the main entity of main page entity? What is this page about? What is the thing? So in this case, the application and the ad ID is your website. If you were building some stuff for your map and you want to put schema on your pages for your map, you put your map in there. If you had a machine ID, one of these things, uh,
Mm-hmm.
then you could put that in there too. It's basically you're associating that thing with your brand. At the end of the day, is what you're doing with that ad ID. I'm sure there's like a more technical explanation of it. But that's my understanding of it. That's the way I kind of do things. It's simple.
That's really interesting. If you guys don't understand about schema, is it honestly is not that complicated. It's really easy. I mean, if you go to schema.org, it's probably the worst website to go to learn about schema.
Yeah.
It's so bad in terms of how it explains schema there. I don't know. It's complicated for me, but
Think of it this way. All it is a resource. This
yeah,
website is hooked to this tool at the end of the day.
yeah,
And if it's not in this website, it's not going to work in this tool.
right,
Think of it that way.
right.
And then the application of it is really, let's go. This is a cool one. I did a whole talk on this for like an hour and a half in Springfield. But you take your template, and because we were looking at, what was the one that we were looking at? Where is it? Did I close it? Crap, I think I closed it.
10businessdesign.com.
Yeah, I think I closed it. So we look at website, right? So this is the schema type website.
Yeah.
Look how little is actually in here if you think about it. That's all it's in there.
Yeah.
If you go in here,
You have like tens and tens of things that you can put in.
yeah, there's
10 pages.
more like content because the website is a creative work. So all of those things right here, you can drop in here and add to that website's schema line. You don't have to just limit it to whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm wondering how much, if it's worth your time to do all this schema, like you were saying now here, to go through all these sections here on schema.org and try to make it as complete as possible. The schema recipe for your site. Do you think there's something that Google will say, okay, this schema is so complete that is going to help you in rankings?
So this is one of our projects. Is 8 million pages long.
Find us. Nice.
There's 8 million pages in this thing. And we had an indexing issue. Everyone had it, but we were having it.
Yeah.
Couldn't stop it. How do you stop it? So ultimately, what I did was I added schema. My schema on there this is the one I told you is 1,500 lines of code for schema, and I stopped the de-indexing, just using schema. You
Wow.
see how built out
Woo-hoo.
this.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I'm gonna keep
Wow.
going because there's
He went nuts with it.
right.
Yeah.
But this is every service that is being offered over there. Find Us Now it's a competitor for Home Advisor and Angie's List. They're all offering the same things, and I'm just saying, hey Google, this is what we offer over there. And I built it all the way out. This isn't even like I got to go back through in each category, write individual schema for each one of those categories. It won't be nearly as big as this, but it's still going to. I stopped the bleeding. I stopped the indexing with this, and it's
That's
coming back,
great.
and the rankings are coming back.
That's awesome. That's awesome. By the way, when I did my schema for my affiliate website, uh, in part is because I steal your schema from your digitalear.com. And of course, I don't know where's my black hat, so I can put it on my head. But I went and I stole your schema, and
Well,
that's
that's Black Hat, right? So that's the crust of Black Hat. Go find out what your competition is doing and do the same thing. That's how you get where they're at, and then now you got to find that edge. So I
this.
wouldn't recommend you guys going to do it now because it's schema on there.
It's messed up. Yeah, the site.
Look at the site; it's in Laurel Nifson for crying out loud. What's funny is if you go to the location pages, like I'm in Yuma right now. Look at the location pages. I'm switching from Visual Basic to, and I'm doing this part of my code. This page is still ranking number one. And the
Is it?
reason why is,
Wow.
yeah. As a matter of fact, for Yuma SEO, it's still number one. And SEO Yuma, it was three, and now it's number
This
one.
looks
The reason
like
why is the relevant content study.
this is
So
like
it's
the
guys,
looks a little bit like the rhinoplasty site.
exactly the lorem ipsum
Yeah.
test, right? So Google is so smart and knew my content and stuff. It should be able to see all this and go, whoa, what the hell's going on, right? And
Uh,
it's not as smart as it's made out to be. So.
well, they don't. You know that they don't. They just read probably uh, the code in there, but they don't know what it's talking about, right?
Well, so on Google's perspective, they can't tell you everything because if they tell you everything, everyone will manipulate it and then they're screwed, right?
Hmm.
And then from our perspective, the more complicated you make Google out to be, the better it is for you when you're selling, and you can look how smart you are. And people like me, people like I don't know, I won't say Ted because he's in the super nerd community, but
It's way
you
way
know,
way above.
yeah, we break down Google. Google is not that smart. Kyle proved Google is not that smart. Other people have copied that rhinoplasty site. Google is not that smart. And then there's proof right there too. Google's just not that smart.
Yeah,
So, um, but people make a living off of that by saying, "Look how smart Google is. They're doing machine learning and they're doing BERT and they know what your page is talking about." Blah blah blah. When in fact, no, they don't.
that's it.
So, and it just makes it harder, for people that are honest because they're not fear marketing. But on the other hand, do you really want a client that's fearful? So it kind of
That's
works
it.
out.
I have a question now before we move on, Clint, quickly about the um, what schema type would you recommend for affiliate websites?
So, if you're doing like a best webcams, that would actually do a creative works for like the article because you're not specifically promoting a specific product, right? And then I would put the products in there, but I wouldn't necessarily build those all up because if I was doing it, I would have my best webcam site, and then each of those 10 products would have a page on my website, and that's where I'd put all that product schema as built out as I can and linking to. So it kind of helps each other. It's the silo. I've taught the silo before. That's the silo that I would use for that. So in because your best webcam is the review. It's a review, not like a review of things, not a review like you would think of writing a review on GMB. So there's two different schemas there. You can apply that, but it's a list, so I don't think the stars applies.
Hmm.
But you can tinker around with that stuff and play with it.
Yeah, I played a little bit with Schema for one of my affiliate sites, and the list looks really nice. Um, it looks really nice. There's a certain way you can do it. It's not gonna work the list because there's like, for example, the links that you have to put there. They have to be from the same page, but they have to be kind of different, if I remember correctly. So I've used the links from the content table of contents because they're different with the hashtags.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Another thing, if you want to do that, you can play around with that a little bit. Is use UTM and then use a tool like Pretty Links.
mhm.
So all of your affiliate, you have your list of 10 products. You get Pretty Links on there, and you have Pretty Links. And then when you do your affiliate code, I can share this one too. Browser. Let's say this is mine, and I want to use UTM codes. It's the Google Analytics URL builder. It's
Mhm.
Chrome. You just put it in here, and you can actually put presets in here. So when I do links from SEO this week, I'll put SEO this week and all these things around there. In your
Nice.
case, you have the Pretty Links URL. You'd replace it right here and then put that UTM code. So you have unique URLs on each product, and then you also have tracking so that you know where it's going to occur.
Nice. So
When I do it, I do SEO this week, and I put it on all of these. So people are clicking, and now if they have Google Analytics on there, their Google Analytics splices my traffic out. This is or in this case, it's a weekly SEO show. I think weekly roll up, digital ear, Clint Butler, all that's in their analytics.
mhm.
So it's not. I'm not doing referral spam. I'm just saying, hey, look, this is where this is coming from, and that's because there's people that link to high quality content. When people link to you, no one bothers to say thank you. So I'm making sure that they know I did it.
Can I ask you quickly, because Jahir here asked in the chat, in the Zoom chat, he asked, well, he asked a few questions, but he says first, is there any of your training coming soon, Clint?
The my Cora stuff is out right now. How to use that software. I think that is probably the base of my SEO. Is that tool? Uh, I've been using that ever since it came out. I've used Surfer. I use Page Optimizer Pro. There's a new one from SERPWoo, and I always go back to that. So I would recommend. I just started charging for it. I gave it away for free for a while to get some list building, but now I'm charging for it. But if you want to start out and you want to be ahead of the game, I would start there. And that's at whatranks.com. My on-page course, I actually started the outline for that. And I'll be building that as it goes. The problem with on-page is it's so basic, and I just feel really bad about, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is all basic stuff, but I'm giving it to you and I'm going to charge it for you. And then a guy like Adrian, who understands that basics, will get something out of maybe the last third of that course. Um, so I want to make it for newbies because I'm going to be advertising it, but I got to treat my current base as well. So I'm just balancing, basic, intermediate, and advanced, and that's kind of where I'm stuck at right
Yeah.
now. So that
Yeah,
one,
I
that
can't wait
one
for the course because I'm sure you're gonna have, like you said, maybe half of the course I'm happy with that knowledge. I know what you're talking about, but maybe the other half is gonna blow my mind because I know you're gonna have some cool stuff in there. So
well, I think the more as you go, you're going to find that the more courses you buy, the more stuff in it, but if you can walk away with one or two nuggets out of a course, it was well worth that spend,
mm,
because essentially you're just paying for someone's research.
that's it.
They
Yep.
saved you the time and their research, right? So, um, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of doing, and I can show the screen one more time, and you guys can see the website. Don't judge me, I'm not a web designer. Um, what I'm thinking of doing is it'll have the on-page course, and then I'm going to probably bust out the advanced stuff, the schema and my content creation and the link building into their own individual things. So let's say the on-page stuff, and you can come in here and you see the content in here, and you're like, I know all this stuff.
Hmm.
Then you can just buy the other three modules. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's
So,
yeah,
yeah.
that's more interesting. I think I've seen Craig Campbell doing it that way.
Yep, he's got his busted out like that. He's got that advanced, the bigger advanced thing, and then he's got some black hat and some other stuff in there.
So there you have it, folks. Jahid, uh, I'll keep an. I mean, you're a fan of Clint. You were saying at the beginning, so I'll keep an eye on when the course is available. But for now, uh, he's working hard on it. Uh, I think Clint answered already this. If you suggest any schema generation tools, or do you recommend anyone to follow? Um, I think you answered that, Clint, didn't you?
Yeah, if you have to use a schema generation tool, the only one that I trust is Schema App.
Yeah.
SchemaApp.com. I have a subscription over there for Digital Ear, and the main difference is how I showed you to go in there and find all these things. It's inside a Schema app, so you don't have to write the code, but there is a learning curve for this. So if you're going to get it, just set a week aside to learn how to use this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this is the only one that I trust if you're going to use an app to plug in Schema.
Coolio. Um, it's 50 minutes into this thing, and I would love to have Clint with me for another 3 hours at least. Oh, by the way, you are the only trio. You're the only guy in that trio, Ted, Kyle, and you that I didn't have a drink with already. So please come to London.
Slacker.
Please come to London.
Yeah. My wife's sitting behind the computer and she heard that invite. So now it's another excuse. She's been bugging me to take her over there.
Yeah. Please, please, please bring Clint to London, Mrs. So, for how long I can have you here with us, Clint?
I'm good for another half hour. Actually.
Half an hour. Cool. I have a lot of questions from the audience that I gathered in on Facebook. And I want to shoot some of those at you. Some are very basic, but of course, those are the questions that are bugging the people. So hopefully, you can you can help them out a little bit. So Sean says, how important it is to routinely disavow links. I get a lot of low-value spammy sites in English and foreign languages linking to me that have nothing to do with my niche. Should I play it safe and regularly disavow them, or just ignore them?
I would. There's two schools of thought here. You can follow the school of thought where disavow doesn't do anything, or follow the school of thought where it does. And I'm in the camp where it does. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to do more harm than good. So if you have an instance like that, and you know for a fact that they are not providing some kind of ranking boost, go ahead and disavow them. If you're not sure, or you think they might be, leave them alone, because otherwise you're just going to hurt yourself. And that's why Google actually tossed around getting rid of that tool. Like Gary Illis was like, we should get rid of this.
People they shooting themselves in the foot, huh?
Exactly, and then they're blaming the disavow tool, and it's not the disavow tool's fault. It's people going full nuclear on their websites. Essentially, no following, which is really what that does, is saying, "Hey, Google, ignore these, don't follow them," right? And then not building new backlinks. So, I'll tell you a story. One of my websites got negative SEO'd, 150,000 backlinks, adults, porn, and prescription drugs. I didn't get a penalty, but I saw a ranking drop. And that's how I realized I was getting negative SEO, because typically I don't really care. And so I looked at those and I was like, oh, thanks. I appreciate this. So I disavowed all of them, which essentially turned them into no follow. And now that website ranks for anything that I put on it, with minimal backlinks. And I have 150,000 porn, drug, and whatever links that are hiding my private blog networks that might be in there, et cetera, right? Or guest posts and all that stuff. So no one can reverse engineer that link profile either. So, you know, I will say that negative SEO is real, but most times we're doing it ourselves. So to stick with the answer to that question, if you know what you're doing, you know they're no good, disavow them. Otherwise, leave it alone.
Coolio. He has a follow up question on that, and I found this question to be interesting. I've never looked at, I mean, I never thought about it, but do you know if these low quality links also bring down a site's DR score?
DR is, before they updated it over there, it was actually really good. DR 40 and above, you get those links. Those are awesome. You're going to rank all day. They updated DR and then they manually changed it when people complained when their DRs all dropped. So the value, I haven't been able to figure out a nice metric for that. I think that it could, but that just depends on how they work. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I kind of don't give DR any credit anymore. UR is the metric that I'm looking at.
UR. Okay. And for those who doesn't know, DR, UR are some metrics from Ahrefs.
Yep.
Let's see another question I have in here. Column ask again on Facebook, buying links on Fiverr. There are many niche websites that are that offer a single guest post on 20 to 50 DA website for peanuts. Are they worth it? Are there any long-term advantages / disadvantages?
Never want to point a Fiverr gig at your website. But if, like, say I get a guest post from Adrian, I'll point a Fiverr gig at Adrian's website.
Thank you.
so those are good tier twos. Like be cool. Obviously, I wouldn't do that. But if you have a website that charges you $50 for a guest post, and then you find out from your buddies they're charging $50 for a guest, then knock yourself out. Go get those, point it at that website, and boost up the power of that, and get your $50 worth of power from that backlink. But just, if you've ever done link penalty recoveries, and I've done a lot of them for a lot of people, Fiverr is where you get in trouble really quick. So, be careful, test those out on sites you don't care about, make sure that they work first. And then you could potentially pointing at a money website if you have kill pages. If you're an SIA, you know what I'm talking about, kill pages. I've taught that concept. And then if something happens, you just kill the kill page and it deletes those links and you're good to go. So just be careful when you're over there. That's with any provider though, right? So.
Yeah, but especially Fiverr.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to buy links on Fiverr, buy them to do, and I'm not saying to do this, but it's for negative SEO, or just play for them, buy them and send them to your test websites and see if that shit works. Basically,
where the power is. Build a test website or build a cloud website. See what it does to the cloud website. If it ranks it up, then put a link on the cloud website to your website. And then if something happens to the cloud website, you just cancel it. Your set's safe. So there's plenty of ways to be safe and to leverage that cheaper link access.
True. What difference, this question is from Zoe Humble again. What difference does having a sitemap give you? So she says here, I guess it tells Google what's what, but I don't get why they are needed if Google crawls the site. I've heard some people say that they tell Google about new content manually on their site. What's that about?
That might be a question for the pen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a question for the pen. So yes, the sitemap it's designed to say, hey Google, these are all the pages on the website. And it aids in crawling. And typically now I'm recommending that you actually have two sitemaps. One is the XML sitemap, the plugins create them, Yoast and all that stuff. And then the other one is the HTML version. That's where the user can click it and see the list of all the pages. And it's the The HTML one is actually helping with indexing. As to go towards your question of why you would want it though, or why you need it, is what if you're only depending on the crawl and you had, let's say you had, I want to make this simple as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, right? Each of those 4 pages had 2 pages linked to them. Like this. Notice I'm leaving the arrows out of there, a couple of these. All right. And then each of those had, let's say there's a whole bunch of them down here too. I'm not even going to count. I'm just going to do it for graphic representation. And then all of these were linking here. And then I leave that out. And you're like, oh, I got my silo. This is good. This page ranks well. You know, this is number 1. This is number 1. This is made with the same template and it's ranking number 50. And then this one is ranking number 45. Like, what the heck is going on? A couple of things that could be happening is because your sitemap is not there and is not listing this, right? Or it may be listing this, but this page is not linked to that, so you're losing that power. The other thing is with crawl, if you don't have a sitemap and these aren't interlinked, let's say this one is not linked to this and these ones don't have any links, so Google, other than your sitemap, would not even know that these are here, and they don't know what's the purpose of them. So it's not helping your ranking. So you have that either that issue is it's not crawling it or it's not listed in your sitemap and you're not getting the power from it. So that's why you want to have a sitemap. Essentially, think of your sitemap as the roadmap to everything that's good. And if you don't have it, it's like, you know, going down the road and looking for an adventure, not just kind of freestyling it without your nav. You know what I mean? So give Google the navigation tool so I can find everything in it.
That's cool. Another question here is from again from Zoe. She says, "What's your views on speed? Should we worry about speed?"
If your website is loading 3 seconds or faster on mobile, you're good to go. Don't follow the grades, A's, B's, and C's. Those are all for elementary kids. Look at that new one, the Core Web Vitals. I think that is actually going to be a benefit right now until everyone is in compliance. And then they're going to remove that as a ranking factor, just like they did with the HTTPS. But for now, make sure your sites are at least amber in that Core Web Vitals thing, if not green. But the 100% on Google Insights and the A's and B's on GT metrics and all that madness, forget all that stuff. If your website is loading 3 seconds or faster for a 4G mobile phone, you're good to go.
Yeah, there's a great video. I don't know. I think it was on that video on SEO Fight Club where you guys were talking about the site speed being small ranking factor, or if is a ranking factor at all. And I believe you guys were saying
because it's hard for us to figure out, is it time to first byte or is it start render? And start render is when it's first usable, like you open the website and then boom, I can start doing stuff, right? Or is it full load? I am on the camp that it's time to first byte and start render. And then the full load is just like, whatever, get around to it. And that's kind of how Google feels. Google's looking at how fast a mobile user sitting at the bus stop can open a website and actually start using it. And that's where that if your start render is 3 seconds or faster, you are good to go.
Awesome. That makes it very easy to understand now. So please, guys, if you waste your time trying to optimize your site to make it, I don't know, light speed, you're just losing your time.
Focus on point of no return. I had Digitalear running at 0.53 millisecond. That's like that. I didn't get no ranking boost out of it. I did a crap ton of work and it got absolutely nothing.
There you go. There you have it. A question from Matthew says, "How do you optimize articles with NLP entities? Have you seen growth with that strategy? Um, and how do you
The second,
copy?" I'll ask this one later.
okay,
After
the
you finish.
second one I think we already beat
Yeah.
that one. I'm going to teach my content optimization strategy in my course, my paid course, and the only reason I don't give that out for free is because um, part of it is from my mastermind. The guy developed part of it in my mastermind, and I don't. What happens in my mastermind stays in my mastermind. So I'm giving some pieces of that in the course, but we don't want everyone to use it. So
Mm-hmm.
um,
I
at
understand that.
the short version is, and I think you can figure it out if you read between the lines, is run those tools that I showed you, compare the top 25 or top 10 if you want to, and then pull the entities and then add them to your content. And you pretty much got the gist of what we're doing. I'm just using some extra tools to make that easier, and I'm trying my hand at development to make a tool that will do it. Ted's thinking about selling one of his. If he sells a SEO Editor Pro, I'm going to put a content editor in there to do it. So it's just gotta, we'll see how that plays out. But you guys can read between the lines. Just figure out the tools on how to accomplish what I just told you, and that's pretty much what we're doing.
Matthew says as well, how do you copy a competitor's schema?
Oh, that's easy. Who you got a competitor? Give us a competitor.
You can use. You're gonna show the SEO ruler.
SEO ruler. Well, what was that keyword you did?
Best webcams.
Let's see. If any of them have schema. I'm trying to think of who would have schema in here. Digital trend. I'm looking for an SEO. Is at the end. They might.
I believe Google is watching this stream because my internet connection is. When you give these tips, is it's I don't know. It says you're not receiving enough video.
Yeah, that's why I had to switch SEO this week to OBS because the quality was getting bad on me. We're gonna find one. There we go. Here you go. News article. All right. So remember I was telling you I would do articles. So that's the same thing they did. They used news article. I wouldn't have do news article because it's a review. This is not a news article. News articles is actual news, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're using the wrong schema. But I would use article schema, and there's not very much difference in between news article and that. You just change this article type. Cool. Now we have schema to rip off. You just click on any one of these, and over here it'll jump over to the schema. And the highlighter in this is broken now for some reason, but you can see the first script type. That's the opening. And then you can find the close, and it's right here, close script. There you go. Now you have their schema in a template to start off without, starting out from scratch. You know what I mean? So that's how you do it. That's simple.
Coolio. I'll have maybe one more question for you, Clint. And let me quickly see here. Yeah, two more questions and we can wrap it up. As I said, the buffer is buffering as well. Nah, not good. So this is a question that most people, especially at the beginning when they've tried one site, two sites, they're not ranking, they're not making money. What in your experience, so many years of experience, would you say is the reason or the few reasons that a website will fail to rank?
The number one reason is the lack of promotion. All too often, newbies are taught just write great content and then keep doing that over and over again, and Google's going to love you. Speaking as a guy who wrote a blog post a day for a year, I can tell you that is complete and utter BS. You have to promote your content. If you need a teacher to teach you about promoting your content, just go look at Brian Dean's website. And that guy's got, I think now he's got over 100 posts on there, 100 pages. But before it was like 50. And he was getting the most traffic in the SEO world because he was promoting his 50 pieces of content. And he's ranking for some stupid hard words because he's promoting his content. So learn. SEO is a form of marketing, so learn marketing. But don't try to do what I did and learn everything. Learn a little bit of Facebook, learn a little bit of YouTube, and promote your stuff over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So, and if that means you're only writing one article every 3 months, then you're writing one article every 3 months, and then you're talking about your article for 3 months. And that's how you become successful. That content marketing right until you die thing, that only works when you have a really big brand and you got a really established audience, and then you can write until you die because all those links and stuff will come in because everyone knows you and likes you and trusts you, right? But if you're a new guy in the military, working dogs and training people how to hunt down bad guys, or you're operating a crane, nobody cares about you. You've got to promote.
You have to work your ass for it.
Yep.
So the last question is kind of from my side, and probably I hope people will find it interesting as well. Do you have any tips for people such as myself and my awesome audience when it comes to what to do in order to become better SEO and marketer in general?
SEOs is learn how to test. There's two communities, Biased SEO Intelligence Agency. That's the one I co-own with Dory Friend. And then there's Ted and Kyle's at Internet Marketing Gold. Both of those get you a good pathway into learning how to do testing. Second is never be afraid to break stuff. Build a website that you just absolutely don't care what happens to it, and do all kinds of crazy mad stuff to it. That's how you figure out what's working and what's not. And then on the marketing side is to learn to get over yourself. It's really easy on Facebook and the Twitter now and to get kind of gun shy with promotion, because there's all those people that are over there that like talk smack about doing ads and promoting yourself and the 4-letter word guru. To me, guru just means someone that worked harder than you to get what they want. And if they're at guru status, it means that hey, if you make money selling courses, that means you did all that research to make that course, right? And you saved me 40, 60, 80 hours figuring that stuff out myself. So be you. And then I would say be very, very, very careful about who you're following. There's a lot of ego in our industry, male and female alike. Males more so than females, but females can be scandalous too. So just be very, very careful of who you're following, and test everything that they say. Trust no one. Test everything, especially when it comes to your business.
That's it. That's very, very, very good stuff, Clint. I really appreciate you coming on and share all this knowledge with us. I would love to have you maybe sometime in the future. Hopefully, we can pick your brains again. And,
yeah, let's come back.
Thanks everybody for being here as well. Thanks everybody in the chat. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a thumbs up, or thumbs down, loves us or hate us. It's interaction at the end of the day. And stay focused, because we're going to get rid of that boss. All right. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye.